Hello and welcome to Quartzlight, your car brochure channel, and in today's episode we're going to continue looking at 70s Datsuns in this Datsun in the UK brochure. The Datsun Laurel and the Datsun Skyline. Hello and welcome back, and if you're new to Quartzlight, we're a car brochure channel here on YouTube, looking at car brochures from around the world for the 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s and sometimes beyond that as well. So if you're interested in cars and car brochures, please consider subscribing. It certainly helps the channel, and thank you for all those who have subscribed. Anyway, back to today's episode. Yes, 70s Nissans, or Datsuns as we call them in the UK, at the time seemed very popular, so I thought I'd continue this little bit of a story. We're getting larger and larger cars now, of course, so we're looking at the Nissan or Datsun Laurel as it was in the UK. That would be the 200 GL, and also they're very much related to Datsun Skyline. There were 240k GTs in this brochure, a very rare and desirable car today, I would say. And these cars ran from 1972 to 1977. This particular brochure that we're looking at today, it's kind of like mid, sort of 75, 76, 77, somewhere around there. It's not dated, but it's somewhere from round about that period. So let's not witter any longer. Let's have a look at today's brochure. So here is today's brochure. I've kind of panned back to give you an idea how small the brochure is. Tiny, but I do like it. I love the front design. It's simple, but Datsun in the UK, I think it looks really good. And like I said before, it doesn't really have a date on it. Oh, by the way, stickers are now available in the shop, and you can become a member, and we're going to think about doing extra content for members when we get over 10 members. We're not at a figure that it's really worth doing extra content yet. Anyway, so like I say, no date on this. It's more like just a little bit of a fine print at the back. So no date on it. It's just the clause. This Datsun UK Limited reserves the right to vary specifications, etc. The publication does not constitute an offer of sale, and before purchase of any model, full consideration with the dealer should be undertaken. And we've also got a little bit of an address. There we go, the little bit of the UK address at the time. Datsun UK Limited, Datsun House, Brighton Road, Worthing, and a little bit of the Datsun badge right at the end there. So interesting stuff, but like I say, no date unfortunately. So here is our first of those two cars, the Datsun Laurel 200 GL. I remember later Laurels, but I don't particularly remember this particular version of the Laurel too well. I don't know how many of these they actually sold in the UK, but certainly an extremely rare car today. Let's just zoom in on that main image. So it's not the biggest picture in the world that it's in this brochure, because it's a pretty small brochure as we've seen, but I've tried to zoom in the best I can. Very much following that sort of same sort of design cues, a bit of that sort of like Coke bottle design going on with this car. And they always used to say, Datsuns were copying everyone else, and maybe to some degree a lot of these Japanese did copy some design cues from other manufacturers, but still, I think they were great designs. I feel very sort of iconic, these 70s Datsuns. I really like them, as a lot of you out there seem to as well. Love the grille design and those twin headlamps. They look really nice. And of course at this time we're looking at chrome bumpers, like Datsuns used to do at the time. And a lot of people like this sort of like these wheel trims. I'm not 100% sure about them, but yeah, quite an iconic, wacky sort of 70s wheel trim they used to throw on these Laurels as well. Anyway, let's have a look at some of the text. So here it is, the Datsun Laurel 200 GL. large four-door executive saloon. So yeah, if your Bluebird weren't big enough, this was the next model in the range. It's got refined and very well equipped interior, quiet, comfortable and spacious, offers excellent performance with economy and reliability. One of the most roomy cars in the Datsun range. And yeah, I think the key there is reliability, as we've talked. Every time we talk about these Datsuns, you know, that's how they got in there. You know, a lot of the UK or, you know, I think British Leyland, a lot of strikes, a lot of sort of issues with build quality and reliability. You can see how these cars tempted people into these Datsuns, although there was always that, and a few people mentioned that there was always that, foreign car rubbish sort of thing. There was always that little bit of buy British, so, you know, I think that slowly wore off as the 70s went on and people realised, you know, hey, if someone makes a better car, good for them, let's buy them and enjoy the reliability that comes along with them. Anyway, if we move down, we can also see the specifications. So these have got a 4-cylinder 1990cc OHC engine, 114 bhp at 5600 rpm, 4-speed all synchromesh gearbox, independent front suspension, McPherson struts, live axle at rear, front disc brakes, servo assisted dual circuits, recirculating ball type steering, and gives you an idea of the tyres and the length before it tells us the maximum speed up to 103 miles per hour, typical 26 miles per gallon. So not bad performance figures there for the 70s. As we have one quick last look at this Laurel, like I say, I'd love to own one of these today, but I'm sure they are very rare, and I can't imagine many of these sort of like second generation Laurels still being around today. Anyway, the next car we're going to look at, very much related to this, but even rarer. So let's turn the page. And yeah, like I say, the second car we're looking at is very much related to that Laurel. It's the Datsun Skyline 240k GT. You know, 72 to 77, somewhere around that. They were around. I particularly like these. I love the styling of it. Let's just zoom in. Look at that design. I love this sort of like crease line going down here. Very unusual design, but again, I think Datsuns were just coming up with some great designs in the 70s. I also, like I keep going on about, I'm not keen on the wheel trims. I actually love the wheel trims on these Skylines. I think they look really good. And even little touches like this little indicator at the front here being like a pointy design at the front there. It's a lovely looking vehicle, isn't it? So, you know, when was the last time you've ever seen one of these, if you have at all? I can't really remember seeing them in the 70s, I must admit. They couldn't have sold too many of them in the UK, I don't think. So yeah, desirable car for sure. And certainly if you remember these, jot in the comments, because I'm struggling a little bit to remember them. So certainly a very desirable car. Is there any actually that were sold in the UK still around? I would be very surprised actually. Anyway, let's look at some of the specifications. So it's telling us this Datsun Skyline 240k GT, a medium large 4-door sporting saloon with 6-cylinder power and executive equipment, proven and powerful engine taken from a 240Z sports car and tuned for even better economy and reliability. Comfortable 4-seater with excellent performance and good handling. Sounds fantastic, doesn't it? So yeah, we do have a 6-cylinder. It's a 2393cc OHC engine, 130 bhp at 5600 rpm. Very good for the time, I would say. 4-speed all synchromesh gearbox with 3-speed automatic transmission as an optional extra. All independent suspension, front McPherson strut, rear semi-trailing arms, front disc brakes, servo assisted, dual circuits, variable ratio, recirculating ball steering. some dimensions, etc. Maximum speed 115 miles per hour, typically 25 miles per gallon. So like I say, this ran from 72 to 77, so 1972, if you got one of these, 115 miles per hour is very respectable from, let's face it, a car with a Datsun badge that really doesn't look like it would do that sort of speed. So yeah, a rare and desirable car today, I would certainly say. So there you go. Everyone's been asking for more 70s Datsuns and a couple of more interesting ones. I would find it hard to find. I particularly like that Skyline. Very interesting cars. If you remember any of these cars, the Laurel or the Skyline in the 70s, please let me know. Always enjoy reading your comments, but overall I think a lot of car that probably people really didn't realise was a lot of car back in the 70s. A very much overlooked car for sure in the UK. Thank you for watching today. Please do like and subscribe if you've not already done so, and I appreciate you watching, and also I appreciate everyone who has subscribed so far. Thank you so much. Of course, the regular viewers who always watch, always subscribe. This channel is of course for you guys. Thank you, take care, all the best, and goodbye.